Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Haslett Board of Education meeting, Monday, December 8th, 2025. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will move on to item number 3, which is the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Tonight I'm bringing forward 3 items related to the middle school leadership transitions. The first, I'm recommending Emily Weaver for the position of middle school principal. Emily has served as our middle school associate principal for the past 2.5 years. Before joining Haslett, she was an assistant principal at Waverly Community Schools and previously taught at both our middle school and high school levels. Her contract appears on tonight's consent agenda. Second, I'm also recommending Diane Newman for the role of interim associate principal at the middle school. Diane previously served as our director of student services and as middle school principal. She has been assisting with Paula Dobson's transition to the director of student services over the last month and has agreed to continue supporting us through December 19th, 2025. Her contract is also on this evening's consent agenda. The posting for the full-time position of middle school associate principal is now posted on the website with interviews to be held immediately following the holiday break. Diane Newman has some travel planned for January, and so to ensure the continuity of support for the middle school in your consent agenda tonight is also a second interim middle school associate principal position to be filled beginning January 5th until the permanent role is filled. We're currently in discussion with another retired administrator interested in that role, and Diane Newman said that she can come in and fill in when needed throughout January as well. Just wants to return to enjoying some retirement. Also have one resignation to share tonight. We have a resignation from Jason Brown, special education teacher at Murphy Elementary. He submitted his resignation effective at the holiday break. We have thanked him for his service and wished him well. We continue to get some shout outs from the community and much appreciation for the steady stream of recognition of hard work and dedication of our staff. This shout out is for Catherine Whipple. Ms. Whipple is very dedicated to her students and works very hard to help them succeed. She comes to school every day with the most positive attitude and is always extremely willing to help. She really brightens my day. Student Safety Task Force met on Wednesday, December 3rd. The group reviewed early survey responses and discussed next steps in its ongoing work to improve student safety. That survey is still open and will be open through next week. This work will continue to develop as we refine the themes and priorities from the data that we look at. As we move into winter weather, I want to remind families that information about school closings is available on the district website and mobile app. Both platforms outline how we make closure decisions and how parents and guardians are notified when weather affects our schedule. We were at the middle school today, and students were already lobbying for the snow day call on this Wednesday. Mr. Hamilton may have been as well, and may have some spoons underneath pillows tomorrow night, parents, so be on the lookout. I want to invite the board, staff, and community to our upcoming holiday performances in the Performing Arts Center. They are December 9th, the middle school winter band concert, 7 p.m. December 11th, middle school winter choir concert, 7:30 p.m. December 15th, high school choir concert at 8 p.m. December 16th, high school band winter concert, 7 p.m. These events are always a highlight for the season and showcase the strength of our music programs. I want to recognize 3 Raleigh Elementary teachers as well tonight, Stephanie Humanchuk, Lindsay Lioneski, and Susie Zook for earning national board certification. So congratulations. This is a significant accomplishment that reflects deep professional commitment and expertise, and we're proud to have them as part of our team. Last but certainly not least, I want to welcome Izzy Brown. Izzy will provide an update on the work of the Superintendent Student Advisory Board. She'll share some topics that we've been discussing and provide a progress update on the work that the advisory board is doing. Hey, Izzy.
Hi. So my name is Izzy Brown. I am a sophomore at the high school, and I'm on the Superintendent Student Advisory Board. We meet once a month and try to create solutions to make the school experience better for all. As a representative from the advisory to the board, I am pleased to share what we have been discussing in advisory. So we actually haven't met since your last meeting, but I do have a few new things to share with you. First off, we are able to welcome 2 new representatives to the board. Both are 10th graders, and we're very excited to see what new ideas they will bring to the table. Ms. Livingston also graciously sent out a form to all of those on advisory. And so we voted on what we wanted advisory to focus on for the rest of the school year. We decided that we will be putting most of our attention towards developing a student panel that will attend a professional development day for teachers. This panel will consist of students who would then be asked questions by the staff. We were also asked what we want to learn about in regards to how school works. There were a variety of answers, but overall, we want to learn about the responsibilities that the school board members hold, how decisions are made at the administration level, what a day looks like in the admin building, how school funding works, and the hiring process for school employees. We are very excited to be in contact with the school board to learn more about you and how you help our schools. Our next meeting is on December 11th, so this Thursday, where we will discuss the items mentioned in more detail. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a question. Nice report. You did an excellent job, Izzy. What do you enjoy about being on the superintendent's advisory board?
I really like getting to talk with Mr. Malley, and it really helps me feel like I'm making a difference because we get to all work together, and I really feel like all my ideas and like things that I'm concerned about is being heard. And it's really helpful too to like talk solutions out and then get to actually see those solutions through.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Izzy, have you ever had a track and field coach that was awesome?
I think I did. It was, I want to say my 6th or 7th, no pun intended, 6th or 7th grade year. Yeah, he was pretty awesome, I guess.
He sounds really great.
Yeah.
Great job. Good to see you.
Thank you, Izzy. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. We will move on to our discussion items. First discussion item, we have some wonderful Ralia teachers here to present. So please, come on up, introduce yourselves, and take it away.
I'm Becky Park, 2nd grade teacher.
I'm Sarah Wolf, 2nd grade teacher.
And I'm Susie Zook, 2nd grade teacher. This evening, we just wanted to share a little bit more about what we do in 2nd grade at Ralia. And what we do is we directly connect with our community. It's part of our curriculum and it's part of the standards, but it's something that's part of our hearts because Haslett is the community is the schools. And so because of that strong partnership, we just feel that it is so important to really try to interweave the community into the school and the school back again into the community. And so tonight we've just pulled together some ways that we throughout the year will work to partner with our community and have the community come in, but also we will reach out as well. So tonight you're gonna see kind of a snapshot of the year and our community partnership.
To kind of add to that, actually, Ralia as a whole does an incredible job with this. These are just the specific ways that 2nd grade does this. So the first thing that I want to talk about tonight is Marsh Point and our connection with them. Our students love Halloween, and we've connected with actually Meridian Township Police Department. They provide us trick-or-treat bags and glow sticks for safety. And then Mrs. Voris, we make a connection with her, and she teaches us songs to sing. So we go over there for Halloween. So much joy is experienced between the students and the residents there. Likewise, when we go there with Mrs. Voris to sing songs to them, it's very reciprocal, but it's just really nice to have that intergenerational connection with our community. It really helps teach our kids empathy, joy throughout many different ages and experiences, but just that community respect, respect for elders, social confidence for kids to have those opportunities to interact with other people that maybe they might not, that many at one point. But really, everybody involved just really enjoys it.
All right, so I get to talk about letters to veterans. We take time each Veterans Day to teach our students what veterans are, first of all, and why we celebrate veterans, and ways that we can do that as a community. So something that we do as a second grade team is reach out to our families and ask if they have veterans in their family that we could write to, so that we could thank these family members for their service and for their bravery. And students take great pride in sharing about their family members that are veterans. So we just take time to write to them. We teach them like how to write a letter, and just the things to include for that. And so we have some photos of our students with their letters. We also have some photos of our veterans that we have written to. And I know it makes our students' day, but getting these letters back from the veterans and just seeing the pride and how grateful they are to our students is really something that we cherish. So.
Oh, I must have skipped. Just kidding. Just close your eyes. We're gonna
Yeah.
It'll all be a surprise. Okay, just a quick recap. That's there we go. Letters to veterans. And then volunteers. So one of the things that you might not know about me is that if we've ever worked together, I will not forget some of the things that you might be interested in, and I might call on you to share those interests or share those expertise or share your skills with our friends. It's amazing because especially at second grade, we really just invite as many volunteers into the classroom as possible. We have community volunteers that have no children in the school district, but just want to spend time working with kids and sharing the gift of their time. We have NHS volunteers that come over from the high school, and it's amazing because they get just as much out of it as we do from them, which is really powerful. Having parents come in to share special things is just incredible because we could not do any of the things that we do if we did not have the incredible volunteers that we have. So this is also a plug to anybody who might have an extra hour. If you're ever interested in coming in, all you have to do is fill out a background request form or background check form. It takes like 4 minutes on the website. And if you pass, which I'm sure you probably will, you can come on in, you'll just coordinate with a teacher and you can listen to kids read, you can just help them write. Sometimes it's even just playing a game with a student that might need just a little bit of extra time working on some of those social skills. So it's really awesome, and there's no pressure, but it is a very rewarding and fulfilling experience.
Right, this is a really fun time of the year where we really try to connect geography, which is pretty abstract for second graders, to the world around us and beyond. We invite students and families to come into our classroom and to teach us about their cultural traditions or holidays. These are just two of my students of many that will be doing that this year. It's really great to invite them in to teach us. It just makes our big world smaller for them. And when children can learn from their peers, there's just something incredibly magical and powerful in that. So we open the door to that, and then we take a lot of their interest. Where do you wonder? We let them take some driver's seat and exploring some other places as well. So again, just tying not just local, but beyond global, and really infusing that into our classrooms. And then, I'm on this one too. Kind of opposite, if you're unfamiliar with our Meridian Historical Village, it is right down the street from us. Raleigh is very lucky. It's been a time in our year that it's gone through many transitions. Since I've been here, we've spent at least 2 or 3 days there every year. We invite a ton of local experts to come in and do lessons on rope tying, fishing as they fished in the historical days. They do cross-stitching, washing clothes without a machine. They write with ink pen, a feather, and inkwell. Oh my gosh, what else do they do? Rug beating, tin punching, so many different things that they have hands-on experiences. And it really, when we compare it to times now, they just are really appreciative of how easy they have it. But these are just, if you have never been there, this is a village that's been curated with authentic buildings from our area. So to give them that exposure and experience, it is such an incredibly rich week that we give them, really. So.
Okay, so like I said about connecting and pulling people in, so the Christians family is actually a Haslett family, and we've been so lucky because one year, Mrs. Richardson, when she was teaching second grade, had one of the Christians in her class, and we just kind of said, would it be possible for us to come to the greenhouse? And every year now we've been doing it, and even though I think their baby is graduating this year, we've been so fortunate enough to be welcomed back at their busiest season, and they welcome us in, they take us through the entire beautiful greenhouse, into the very deep depths of it, and also give us a chance to plant so it connects directly to our economics unit, our science with the life cycle of a plant, it's community partnership. So it's really exposing kids not only to different places in our community, but also different occupations. And so it's a really powerful hands-on experience. And for a lot of the people, even the adults that join us, it's a very eye-opening experience where people are saying, wow, I didn't even know that this was a thing. And it's really powerful. So thank you to Christian's Greenhouse.
All right, so we take one night out of the year to celebrate each class and our second graders writing and really getting to see themselves as authors because they truly are. And they write so many different stories and genres throughout the whole year. We really capitalize and show them that you can write for so many different purposes, and writing is so powerful. So we've created a project where they write their own anthology and collect their published pieces throughout the year. And then Schulers welcomes us in, and those students get to present one story from their book and just celebrate their growth throughout the year and all the hard work that they put into that book and share that with their families. So it's a really special night, and we're super grateful to Schulers for welcoming us in. And I think it started in 2008 or 2012. So we've just been going for a very long time. So we're very grateful for that partnership. So, yes.
Another amazing experience that is near and dear to my heart. So Steve and Melinda Shine are former parents in my classroom, and we created this experience where kids got to go to Shine Farm for a day and experience what agriculture is in our world and the importance of agriculture. So not only is it important for us to take care of plants and animals because it's the right thing to do, but they provide in turn for us. So the better care we provide, the better they'll take care of us. And so for an entire day, we are out on the farm in the thick of it, traipsing through everything you can imagine and having just a blast. Students are gathering eggs from the hen house. They're weighing the eggs. They're pruning trees, and we're learning the importance of all of these different experiences and how it connects back to science, how it connects back to our community, how it connects back to all of the economics that we've talked about with producers and consumers. And so it just gives them another hands-on experience for just what this sort of profession could look like, but also an appreciation for some of the people that live in our community. And we're so grateful to Steve and Melinda Shine, who opened their house and their farm to 100 second graders over the course of 2 days. And it is insane. And every year when we call the Shines back up to say, is it okay if we come? We always start with, it's okay to say no, but I mean, look at the smiles on their faces. How can you say no to that? And it's really been just, every year it just evolves into something more beautiful, and the kids get so much out of it, and it's something that they always treasure, and it's something that we really look forward to at the end of the year.
So, as Susie just mentioned, our students get to be on the producer side of things at a farm, and then a few days later, we get to take them to Blondie's Barn, where they get to experience the consumer side of things. And we call it from farm to table. We get that experience with breakfast at the barn. So, we are so fortunate to have Blondie's so close to our school. We're able to walk there. So it's just a great experience, and we're grateful to them as well for welcoming in 50 second graders to dine together. It's just a blast, and the kids enjoy that time, just getting to sit and enjoy learning where their food is coming from, getting to try for a lot of them new things, and we talk about that experience as well. Table manners. There's just a lot of great learning that happens there, and it's just a great experience. So we're super grateful to Blondie's for allowing us to come in, and us teachers, they love to serve us coffee, so it's just a great experience for all of us. So
we just want to thank you for celebrating our community connections. These are really the big things that we do, but there's really community connections in so much of what we do in the small moments of our days as well. But thank you for celebrating with us and giving an opportunity for us to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. First, and I know you guys mentioned it, but really celebrating these businesses in our community that allow our students to have these experiences. But more importantly, thank you guys as teachers for facilitating this process. I think I saw a lot of smiles in those pictures, so that's really neat. And even in the volunteer one, I noticed a bearded gentleman on the far right. So
Was I in a picture?
You were.
Oh,
I think they did that on purpose.
that is, okay.
So we thank you for volunteering.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's perfect segue because
I did that on purpose.
I know I looked like I was paying attention, but I totally missed that picture. But I was fortunate enough to be a part of the Letters to Veterans, and I'll tell you what, when you receive one of those, it doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in, you know, to read them. Well, I received a few, and I'm lazy, so I didn't want to write back all those times. So I said, hey, Mrs. Zook, can I just come in and talk to your class? And it was great. And just a very cool thing to interact with the class and see the great things that Mrs. Zook is doing. I'm sure you're all doing. And what I want to comment on is just the experiential nature of what you're doing. When I was in high school, not that long ago, it was a while ago, but I had a teacher tell me that the goal of a teacher is to instill the desire for students to want to learn more. It's not just about what you're learning. I mean, those kids are going to want to learn more about plants and about farms and all that kind of stuff. So I think getting their hands and stuff is very important. And Mrs. Zook, I've seen what you have to deal with, my son. But I mean, it's not an easy job that you guys do, and I thank you so much for doing it. And the only other thing I want to say is that the bad news is I got real used to being called Veteran Fritz, but Mrs. Fritz isn't having it. She said, I'm not calling you that. I said, okay, but maybe next year.
I just want to say thank you too, and it's funny that you're here tonight because my oldest was home from college, and it was for Thanksgiving, and they were placing all of the field trips that they've done. Like, no, that one was in second grade, and this was in fourth, and this was in fifth, and we talked about Shine Farm and all that stuff, so it just came up. So it sticks with them, too, just so you know how important that is. So just to hear them talk and kind of reflect on the fun times and all of that great learning that was happening. So thank you for doing that. That's a lot of work. So thank you.
Any other comments? All right. Thank you, Will. Thank you. Appreciate you. Next, we have some of our outstanding high school teachers to talk about an out-of-state travel request.
Oh my gosh, hi. Oh, this is gonna be weird. So I'm gonna be way down here and you're gonna be way outside. I should have worn like heels or something. Hi, I'm Laura Allen. I teach French and ELA at the middle school. This is
Rosalie Mann, and I teach French and history at the high school.
And then we also have a third French teacher, Allison Dykeman, who isn't here tonight. But we are here to talk about the potential of our next trip to France, actually. So I believe we had materials maybe printed for you. Yes.
We have
Yes,
them.
okay,
Yep.
great, lovely. Cool, so we were just gonna kind of give a highlight of like the company we're choosing, some of the provisions with them, kind of roughly what the trip would be about, but we are looking, it says, I guess, 2026 itinerary, but this would be for summer 2027, right? It's 2025 right now.
Correct.
Okay, I'm getting there, so like a year and a half from now is what we're requesting. One of the things you received is a packet, or you could have looked over this packet. That's the global travel program proposal from EF. So EF is the company that we just used this past summer when we went to France. We've used them a couple times prior as well when we've gone to France, and they've just been a really reliable company for us. They have a person who travels with you the entire time, and so they have a lot of provisions that we have come to appreciate, and so that is why we're proposing that this trip would be with EF. Do you want to talk about the trip?
Yeah, so we selected a trip that goes to Paris, Normandy, and Brittany. So Paris, and then kind of does like a northern loop. It's totally different than the trip we took this past summer. So if there were any repeat travelers, there really is very little overlap. You always start with a travel day, and then depending on when your flights are, arrive in Paris and get to see the Notre Dame Cathedral and some other Parisian sites. On this particular trip, we also added an extension to Versailles that I am, as a history teacher, am very excited for. The kids learn about it, not just in French class, so that would definitely be a really cool connection, along with seeing all the major, Parisian sites. We take a really awesome bus tour where you get to see everything and have a great tour guide, as well as a Seine riverboat tour that is also very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we would kind of go into northwest toward the Normandy region. So Normandy is obviously familiar to all of us. This is a really cool opportunity. We did kind of a similar trip 2017, I guess, was kind of the last time we went here. And it's just really exciting for the American history component in Normandy. As you actually go through this region of France, if you've been, you'll see that there's French flags and US flags that people will hang outside their homes even. So it's just a really neat experience for our students to encounter, because we'll go and learn more about that history and see the memorial and just pay their respects in that aspect as well. So this is a really cool trip, I think, for an American student to go on. So.
Yeah, we would go to Omaha Beach and then the American Cemetery that's there, which is definitely a very powerful experience, as well as visiting Mont Saint-Michel, which is a very picturesque abbey that's easily accessible sometimes and not for other reasons.
There's the tides is one of the things that happens in Northwest France as well. So they get to kind of see the way that sometimes this place is an island and sometimes it's not, depending on time of day. So that's sort of a fun one as well. So lots of unique things in Northwest France that we're excited about. So I guess that's the proposal. Questions from you all?
Anyone have any questions?
So this is for summer of 2027, which means you've got about 18 months, depending on when it's approved. And I saw kind of the breakdown per month for travel. How many students? What are the requirements to be able to go? And I know we always ask about any support for students to be able to afford it, if otherwise that might be a hardship.
So we were honestly pleasantly surprised that it's about the same price as our last trip. We were definitely expecting for prices to have increased, and they have not. So we would plan to have a parent meeting in January, and then they do a promotional period where if you sign up within the first, I think it's week and a half, you get a $200 discount. And another great thing about EF is that they do have now fundraising pages built in for all of the students. So it's kind of like a student GoFundMe without the fees. So if they have, aunts, uncles, grandparents that want to give them money instead of, a birthday present or something, that they can easily give to that.
Yeah, that's the idea of the year and a half in advance as well, is that, then there's that heads up and those students can make those choices and those requests from their family or family friends and that type of thing throughout the time as well. So that's kind of the main way that we encourage them in sort of the long-term planning. As for students, we took, was it 18?
I think 19. We ended up taking 19 students.
19 students with 3 chaperones. For EF, it's every 6 students gives you a chaperone, which is a really great ratio for international travel. So I would anticipate maybe a similar amount to that. We don't tend to break too far over 20 on these trips.
And I think our minimum is probably 12, just because you don't ever want to be, traveling alone.
Like no chaperone alone.
Yeah, no
that's a
chaperone
big thing
alone.
for
So
us.
having at
Yeah.
least 2 chaperones. So I think anything over 12, and we would run the trip. There's been a lot of student interest. The requirement is that you have completed or will have completed French 2 by the time of the trip. So we currently have some sections of French 1 at the high school, and I teach a section at the high school, or at the middle school, and I teach a section at the high school. And then Allison Dykeman has a lot of kids enrolled in French 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. So.
Well, and I'll just say for others ask, I was fortunate enough for one of my kids to go on the trip this last summer, and EF made it very easy, even with some very interesting travel delays coming back, and having to arrange for hotels in Canada unexpectedly, and just it from a parent perspective, I kept preparing for the worst, and it was very nice to have you as the support, but also just knowing how well it was organized. And I will say, one of the things I heard the most from my child and his friends were because of the size of the groups, there was another group, I think, from Pennsylvania who did some of it with you, and they really loved the chance to meet other kids from the U.S. who are doing something similar and kind of get their experience of it as well. So I think some of them were at least talking for a while over the summer. I don't know if they're still
It's very
connected,
fun.
but yeah.
It's a fun feature, yeah, that
Yeah.
you then get to interact with students who have a similar passion for French or for history, and yeah, that's a
Yep.
fun component of it for
Yeah.
sure.
Any other questions, comments?
Hi, Mrs. Allen.
Hi.
How are you?
So good.
That's it.
Hey.
He's gonna start lobbying to go on the trip.
everyone tonight.
All right, well, thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate the
you.
presentation. Thank you. And I think this will be on our next meeting agenda for approval. January 12th. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to board reports. First is a report from the Policy and Personnel Committee.
Okay, yes, we did meet on December 2nd. We discussed our organizational meeting in January. That'll be our first January 12th meeting, I believe is the date, where we will talk about committees and officers and all of that kind of stuff, which will lead us into our board retreat in February. And so we talked in committee about how to prepare for that as well. And then we spent some time talking about Section 31AA and that resolution. And then we had a policy update review. And that was our meeting.
Well, thank you very much, Vice President Collins. We will hear from the board report from Finance and Facilities. Treasurer Warsinski.
Thank you, Greg. The Finance and Facilities committee met on December 4th. Our first 2 items were the same as the Policy and Personnel meeting. We talked about the organizational meeting in January and our upcoming board retreat. The third item was the public relations proposal. Superintendent Malley provided an update on the public relations proposal from Byron and Fix that he shared last month. In light of our board resolution and the funding around the Section 31AA project, and we're waiting for the court's decision on that, Superintendent Malley decided that now is not the appropriate time to move forward with the proposal. The district will revisit the topic once there is clarity on the Section 31AA funding. Communication does remain a top priority for the school district, so the timing for this investment simply needs to align with our budget certainty and when we figure out what happens with the 31AA funding. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We will move on to, unless there are any questions, we will move on to items from board members. Is any board member? Yes.
I know I say this frequently, and I thank Superintendent Malley for pointing out the band and choir concerts that are coming up these next couple of weeks. I want to give kudos to Mr. Larson and Mrs. Carpenter and Mrs. Valla and Mr. Callahan, just with the program that they've built and they continue to support.
The tryouts for the middle school musical were last week, and out of approximately 600 students in the building, 91 came out to try out for the musical, which just, I think, speaks volumes about not only their interest, but also the support that we have across our buildings for the performing arts. The visual arts are just as amazing, and so it's one of the things I think is really a strength of our district, and I just want to make sure to acknowledge the work that's done by our arts teachers, and also all the parents who support those classes, those performances, and to our AV folks and our students who helped when we get to broadcast those to our families who are not here in the area, so that they still get to see them. So I just want to acknowledge that, because I think it's something really special, and I hear it all the time when I'm out in the community, how much all of that is appreciated. So I want to share it here.
Thank you, and I wholeheartedly agree. Does any other member have anything? No dad jokes, Rick?
No, I'll have one ready next time.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will now move on to correspondence and comments from the public. Secretary Polverento, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, so we had 2 emails that were about the Byram and Fisk proposal, and we also had a 3rd email with some questions about student safety and transparency and student records.
All right, thank you very much. We will now move on to comments from the public. As a reminder, there is a 3-minute time limit on comments from the public. It is not meant to be a back and forth. If there are issues that arise from comments, either myself, Superintendent Malley, or Mr. Hamilton will respond to those. Scott, apparently you're off the hook, so. Just joking. All right, does anybody from the public wish to make comments this evening? Yep, if you'll come up to, and my apologies for not, if you'll come up to the podium and state your name. Thank you.
I have a lot of papers. There's one little paper now.
Sir, if you, okay, yeah, you come in, okay. It's just we like to hear through the microphone.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad it's Christmas. I hope you are. I'm a Christian. I hope you all are. And yes, it's almost Christmas season. I come here in the spirit of Christmas, and address the board members. And here's my statement. I am proposing that the Haslett School Board does the right thing for all Haslett students, residents of Haslett, and mandate displaying God's holy 10 commandments in a highly visible place in high school for all the students and people to see. You have God's command and blessing to do this no matter what. Less importantly, this is even your U.S. constitutional right. Just do the right thing and do it. This holy legal document should not be denied. This holy legal document should not be denied any Haslett school and student in Haslett or any school student in the world.
All right.
Yes.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate it.
Well, I was supposed to respond, so, now you're going. Yeah.
I think if you have more to say, you still have some time, if you do. If
Well,
not,
okay, there was a display that has, 40 years ago, I had a display, this very beautiful banner they had displayed 40 years ago. It should be in the radio now, it should be displayed all the schools, that's what God wants, but if you're Christians and you follow Christ, you should do it. If you don't, and you want to deny him, then it's up to you. It's your opportunity. I leave it up to you. I'm willing to display it anywhere, and I have a good place. In the high school, I like to display it, but I'll leave it up to you.
thank you very much for your comments this evening. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening?
That's me again. I'm Susie Zook, and I come to you now as not a staff member, but as a parent. I just want to celebrate Mallory Voris, who led the 5th grade music concert earlier this week, connecting back to what board member Paul Varento was talking about. She and her intern, Miss Tran, just did a phenomenal job at really inspiring these young, creative musicians and artists, and she welcomed them to demonstrate all ability levels and performances. We had some students doing gymnastics and other kids doing boom whackers. She had kids playing the piano as people were entering. It was all student driven, and it was just beautiful. There was more modern music and things that I was like, I don't know what that is. It's probably from a TikTok thing or a meme. But the kids just had a blast with it. And then there were some more traditional things and a beautiful slideshow to accompany that. And it was a lot of extra work, and I know that it was a standing room only event, and as a parent, it was beautiful, and it was time very well spent, and I know that my son was so excited to be part of it. So I just want to say kudos to Mallory Voris.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Excuse me. My name is Matt Steginga. I am the parent of one of the 3 girls assaulted on May 5. I'm here because the district's Title IX decision maker reached a conclusion that is not only unreasonable, it is logically impossible based on the evidence. In the opening paragraph of her analysis, the attorney claims that because of the children's age, their maturity level, and the physical nature of a soccer game, the preponderance of the evidence supports that 6 separate touches to private parts were accidental. Age and maturity may be surrounding circumstances, but they cannot replace evidence, and they cannot be used to invent a physical context that was never described by the victims. Not one girl ever said these assaults occurred while fighting for a ball. Not one described a collision that would explain hands entering their vaginal area, chest area, or buttocks. They were never even asked what they were doing at the exact moment they were touched. Despite this absence of evidence, the attorney decided that simply being on a soccer field means that they were actively playing soccer, and therefore any touching must have been incidental. That is not fact-finding. That is an ethical violation in a Title IX discrimination. Here are the actual facts. 3 girls reported 6 separate episodes of unwanted touching of the most intimate parts of their body in one recess by the same student. None of these touches are explained by soccer, and none were described as accidental by the victims, yet the attorney concluded that all 6 were incidental contact because of age, maturity, and soccer. To show how absurd that reasoning is, has anyone here accidentally touched another person's private parts 6 times in another 30 minutes? Has anyone here accidentally touched someone's genitals even once? This is not accidental contact, but it is exactly what sexual touching looks like when multiple victims independently report separate incidents. The attorney who ignored critical contradictions in staff's statements, the principal and social worker gave accounts containing inconsistencies and falsehoods so serious that no credible investigator should rely on them. They cannot even agree on who interviewed the respondent on May 6, and the only consistent documentation shows he wasn't interviewed until May 12, a full week later. The decision maker did not mention this once. She also failed to address the respondent's shifting story, including testimony under oath at the PPO hearing that contradicts his earlier accounts. Yet she still concluded she could not determine the touching was sexual in nature under Title IX and Michigan law. Repeated touching of children's genitals, breasts, and buttocks is conduct that a reasonable person can interpret as sexual. The standard is reasonable interpretation, not guessing, not excusing behavior, because children are so young. My hope is that community members ask you, do you believe it's reasonable for one student to accidentally touch 3 crotches, 2 chests, and 1 butt in less than 30 minutes?
Thank you very much for your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak?
My name is Allison Steigenga. I'm the parent of one of the 3 girls assaulted on May 5th. I should say 4 girls. I'm speaking tonight because the district's Title IX decision maker reached a conclusion that is not only unreasonable, it is logically impossible based on the evidence. The attorney begins her analysis by asserting that because of the children's age, their maturity level, and physical nature of the soccer game, that the preponderance of evidence supports that 6 separate touches to private areas were accidental. That framing is fundamentally defective. Age and maturity may be surrounding circumstances, but they cannot replace evidence, and they cannot be used to invent a physical context that was never reported by any victim. Not one girl ever said the assaults occurred while fighting for the ball. Not one girl described a collision or a moment of physical contact that would explain hands entering their vaginal area, chest area, or buttocks. They were never even asked what they were doing at the moment when they were touched. Despite that total absence of evidence, the attorney decided that simply being on a soccer field equals being in the middle of a soccer game. That is an assumption built on an assumption, and that is an ethical violation in a Title IX determination. Here are the facts. 3 girls reported 6 separate incidents of unwanted touching of the most intimate parts of their body in one recess by the same student. None of these touches are explained by soccer, and none of them were described as accidental by the victims. Yet the attorney concluded that all 6 were incidental contacts because of age, maturity, and soccer. To illustrate the absurdity of this reasoning, raise your hand if you have ever accidentally touched someone else's private parts 6 times in under 30 minutes. Raise your hand if you have ever accidentally touched a coworker's or a stranger's genitals, chest, or buttocks even once. We were all in 4th grade once. I played a hell of a lot of soccer. I've never touched anybody's genitals accidentally. This is not how accidental contact works. It is, however, how sexual touching looks when multiple victims report separate incidents. The attorney also ignored or excluded critical evidence. The principal and the social worker provided statements riddled with contradictions and falsehoods so serious that no credible investigator should have relied on them. They can't even agree on who interviewed the boy on May 6th.
Thank you very much for your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening?
She's going to finish my statements for me. Can you reiterate that the social worker and the principal both say that the other person interviewed the boy? Okay. You start here.
Okay.
You don't need to say there. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Molly Maynard, I have a daughter at Raleigh. They can't even agree on who interviewed the respondent on May 6th, and the only consistent documentation shows he wasn't interviewed until May 12th, a full week after the assaults, something the attorney never mentions. She also did not acknowledge the respondent's shifting story, including testimony at the PPO hearing that contradicts his own prior accounts. Finally, the attorney concluded she could not determine that touching was sexual in nature. Under both Title IX and Michigan CSC statute, touching a child's genitals, breasts, and buttocks repeatedly is inherently conduct that a reasonable person can interpret as sexual even without a confessional of sexual motive. The standard is reasonable interpretation. This decision is not a close call. It is a collapse of the Title IX process, and it signals to every victim in this district and even multiple reports of intimate touching will be dismissed if an adult can imagine a more convenient storyline. The board must confront this failure directly. Our children deserve a district where evidence, not assumptions, about age, maturity, and soccer determines the truth. I believe that's it. I lied. So I want to end with one question for this board. Can you stand behind the idea that 6 separate touches to girls' vaginas, breasts, and buttocks occurring in under 30 minutes were all accidental? Can you look this community in the eye and say you are confident these girls experienced genital touching by another student as mere incidental contact, and that this conclusion makes sense to you? Because if that is the message, then we need to be honest about what we are teaching our children. We tell them to report unsafe touching to a trusted adult. But what is the point of that instruction if the adults in charge will decide afterward that it was all an accident? This is not safety, this is not protection, and it is not a standard any of us should accept for our kids or anyone else's.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Hello. First of all, I would definitely like to see a definition, I guess, from this attorney as to what sexual assault would be in their eyes. I guess that bothers me. Because if that's not, I don't know what they would be thinking. So, Terry Geiersbach, Haslett resident. A couple issues I'd like to mention as we bring 2025 to a close. At the last school meeting, there was discussion about various reasons why Haslett academic scores are lower than in 2019. COVID was mentioned, plus DEI as well. Then a third reason was brought up, and a few charts were shown. It was mentioned that having more poor students in our district could be another reason for lower academic scores. Something about this statement really bothers me. Assuming that poor people score lower on tests doesn't seem right. I'm not so sure we should be making these assumptions. I thought we were working against these biases. There are many success stories about poor people becoming very successful. Of course, our own vice president is one of the many examples. I don't think statements about poor people scoring lower on tests is a road we should go down. Secondly, I'd like to focus on 3 positive statements found back in 2022, the equity plan guiding principles. Number 1, every student should get the support they need. 2, everyone in our community should feel safe, be heard, and valued. We should recognize the rights of every child in our district to feel happiness, fulfillment, and encouraged as part of their daily experience. What I don't understand is how we can make these very caring statements back in 2022 and then not apply them back in just this May of 2025 when the sexual assault issues occurred. Makes me wonder if the equity principles were written for just a small group of students. Maybe because I don't feel that last year's 4th grade girls, along with our 9th grade girl, felt safe or happy or received the support they needed. If guiding principles are going to be written in Haslett school documents, they should be applied to all students at all times and in every situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Good evening, Jeff Kessner, Haslett resident. I've handed out a copy of the Presidential Executive Order dated January 2025 titled Ending Radical Indoctrination in K-12 Schooling. The order states that schools who promote equity ideology may face the elimination of federal funding. I emailed Mr. Malley and the board in February of 2025 asking how the district would respond to the order. He responded, quote, "We will keep the community updated as we move forward." After seeing no community update for 8 months, I sent an email to Mr. Malley saying, quote, "I am asking that you honor your commitment to keep the community updated." Mr. Malley then requested a meeting with Mr. Hamilton and I on October 14th, and this is some of what I was told. The political environment has changed. Legal counsel has advised changes to the equity plan. The DEI committee is now known as the Community Leadership Team. The DEI director position is eliminated, but the building equity coaches remain. The administration has no idea how much the DEI initiative has cost the district over the last 5 years, to which I responded, if I told my boss that I had no idea how much company money I had spent on a 5-year project, I would be shown the door. Finally, it is my view that the administration is violating the executive order. Superficial changes such as changing the name of the DEI committee is only meant to evade scrutiny from the U.S. government. It has been almost a year since the executive order was given, and there's not been not one community update as promised. So to the administration and school board president, our community is waiting for you to tell us why continuing to promote equity ideology/DEI, thereby putting Haslett's federal funding at risk, is acting in the best interest of our children, our public schools, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Hi, I'm Amelia Brown. I'm a parent and a Haslett resident, and I just wanted to say that on behalf of my family, and I know many other Haslett families, I just wanted to publicly thank the school board and all the administrators for the job that you do. My children feel safe at school. They are happy to go to school. They enjoy school. They know they are cared for. They are growing up to be two wonderful, independent, well-rounded children, and I owe that to the support and the education that they are getting in Haslett schools. I know that it can be a very thankless job as an educator myself, and so I just wanted to make sure that all of you know that we do appreciate the hard work that you are doing. And that we do see the benefits of the work that you're doing. And I know that you all have full-time jobs outside of this, and this is like almost like a second full-time job for many of you. So just thank you, and I hope that you all find rest and joy in your holiday break.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening? Okay. Seeing no further public comment, we will move on to tonight's consent agenda and the 11 items on it. So give me a moment to read through all of these. Item number 1 on the consent agenda is the approval of the amendment of minutes for the regular board meeting on November 17th. Second is the approval of minutes for our closed session meeting that evening. Third is the approval of minutes for the second closed session meeting that evening. And then number 4 is approval of the minutes for the December 4th special board meeting. Number 5 is approval of the minutes for the closed session meeting on that same evening. Number 6 is approval of the minutes for the Policy and Personnel Committee meeting on December 2nd. Number 7 is the approval of the minutes for the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting on December 4th. Number 8, as we talked about previously, is the 2026 Summer Tax Certification Notice. Number 9 is approval of the contract for the middle school principal, of which the superintendent spoke of earlier this evening. Number 10 is the approval of the contract for the interim middle school associate principal. Number 11 is the approval of the contract for the interim middle school associate principal. Those are the 11 items on tonight's consent agenda. Would any member like any of those items pulled? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
A second?
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the 11 items on tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor will say aye.
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 Opposed? The consent agenda is adopted for this evening. We'll move on to announcements. and we have just one. A regularly scheduled board meeting will be held on January 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. right here in the Haslett Administration Building. I will now entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
We have a motion and second for adjournment. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned this evening.